Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Tonight we will be discussing. I will be discussing about
Who
the
is Berlos?
Berlos
Who is Berlo?
SMCR
Okay.
model of
Berlos'
communication.
full name is
David
before that,
Kenneth Berlo was born in 1929 and he died in 1996. Berlo, or David Kenneth Berlo, he is American communications theorist. I study about the communication. Okay, moving on, I'll give you some short history about the Berlos communication model. Okay, in 1948, the Bell System Technical Journal published a communication cycle model developed by Claude Shannon and Warren Weaver. Claude Shannon and Warren Weaver, they also also an American communications theorist. They study about communication. This model was initially developed to improve technical communication, but would later be applied in many other fields. No? In 1948, Shannon Weaver and Claude Shannon and Warren Weaver, they established a journal called a communication cycle of model. But later on, in 1960, David Kenneth Berlo expanded on this linear communication model and created the SMCR model of communication. Okay, later on in 1960, Braille was invented to expand or elaborate more about the communications in order to expand or to explain more about this kind of communication, which is the linear communication model. David Berlos' SMCR model of communication represents the process of communication in its simplest form. Okay, the acronym SMCR stands for source, message, channel, and receiver. And this is what different components, which are the SMCR model of communication of Berlo, it will look like. But at the end of this topic, I know that it will be discussed some of my group mates, and don't worry, at the end of their discussions, I will give you some exact illustrations about Berlo's communication model, about this SMCR model. And now, let us welcome Ms. Shalami Sarno, for she will going to discuss the first components of SMCR, which is the source or the sender.
Sender. The sender of the message is the source who creates and sends the message to the receiver. The source is the start of the communication process, and it is the person who encodes the message. And this this type of Berlos SMCR model of communication have five elements, which are the communication skills, the attitude, the knowledge, the social system, and the culture. First, we have the communication skills. Communication skills is the skills of the individual to communicate. Like, say, for example, you have the ability to read, to write, to speak, and to listen. That's the examples of the communication skills. So next, we have the attitude. This includes attitudes towards the audience, receiver, and subjects, and towards oneself. Like, say, for example, the attitude of a student is to learn, while the attitude of a teacher is to help teaching the students. Third, we have the knowledge. Knowledge. Familiarity with the subjects of the message makes communications more effective. Also, i- communicating means we have to be knowledgeable on how uh, we have to be knowledgeable to the subjects or the topics. Like say for example, a teacher a teacher must, what do you call this one? A teacher must knows the subjects in details that he or she teach so that they communicate properly to her students and in order for her students to understand their topics. So next is we have the social system. Social system includes the various beliefs, religion, and roles influence the way in which the sender communications the message alongside location and circumstances. Like say for example, um, there are a group of people visited here in the there are a group of people from other country visited here in the Philippines, no? So as a Filipino, as we all known that we known as a hospitable person. So in order to communicate that certain group, we have to speak in English. No, so that is the example of social system. Also, lastly is the culture. Culture also is a part of the social system. Culture is a cultural differences may result in the message being interpreted differently. So
Message.
that's all,
Message is the
and
package of
thank you for listening.
information or meaning that is sent from sender to receiver. The message can be sent in nervous form such as audio, speech, text, video, or other media. The message is influenced by content, elements, treatment, structures, and goals. Con- contents Contents of the message from beginning to end. Example, the blogs, emailers, newsletters, social media posts, case study. Elements. Elements are the gestures and signs that influence the message. Example, source, message channel, receiver, feedback, environment, context, and interference. For treatment, the way in which the message is sent, the message's packaging, and the structure as the word suggests of the message refers to the way in which it is structured. And the last code, the message is the form in which the message is sent. This may include text, language, video, gestures.
Good afternoon to all of us. I am John Andrew Tisilada and I am going to discuss about channel. So channel refers to the information flows from the sender to the receiver. Or in other words, it is the electrical signal passes that carries information from the sender to the receiver. Like for example, phone calls, text messages, email, television, and radios. And there are five senses of channel such as hearing, tasting, seeing, smelling, and touching. Uh, Hearing. The use of ears is to receive the message. For example, when you are talking to someone, in order you to receive the information, you need to listen to what he talks to you. And seeing, it is a visual channels. Like for example, when you are watching a television, so the message is conveyed through the film or the scene. And the touching, the sense of touch can be used as a channel also to communicate. Like for example, when we are buying food or hugging our loved ones. And smelling, smell also can be a part of channel. Because like for example, when you are buying perfumes, food, or, or the fragrance of the perfume, and tasting tasting, the tongue is the muscular organ used in the act of eat and taste. For example, while a food is being shared, the communication can happen regarding to the taste of that food.
Good day everyone, I am Nova J. Pagatpat and I will be going to discuss about the receiver. So the receiver is the person who receives and subsequently decodes decoded message. It is also known as the decoding. In order to make communication effective and smooth as possible, the SMCR or the Berlos SMCR model of communication assumes that the receiver's thinking pattern must be in accordance with that of the sender. The receiver should be on the same platform as of the speaker for the smooth flow of information and for better understanding of the message. The receiver should possess good communication skills to understand what the speaker is trying to convey. The speaker must be on the same social or cultural background just like the sender. So, there are several loopholes in the Berlos SMCR model of communication. One of that is the loss or distortion. So, loss or distortion, example of that is in a team building game where a message is constantly passed on a circle of people. The last person will receive a constantly distorted or unrecognizable message. Every time the message is passed to a different person, part of its initial intention is lost. And next topic will be the next reporter.
Good day everyone, I am Decision Remedios Lim and I will be going to discuss about the noise. So, noise is disrupt the source of message and causes the receiver to only partially receive the message or at all. Noise in which part of the communication process the receiver is not the feeling will or not entirely focused. So, internal noise refers to a state in which part of the communication process the receiver. For example, is not feeling well or not entirely focused. As a result, the receiver may miss out or certain parts of the message. Internal noise, on the other hand, may be caused by a phone call. For example, this also causes the receiver to potentially misunderstand certain parts of the message. And there may be caused intentionally, non-intentionally. Noise is caused unintentionally and for example occur if sender uses difficult words which then makes it more difficult for the receiver to understand the message. And that's all. Proceed to the next.
So to summarize, the Berlos SMCR model presents the communication process to its simplest form. So the model consists of 4 components that are each influenced by different factors. The acronym SMCR stands for sender, message, the channel, and the receiver. So to ensure that the message is conveyed as effectively as possible, the sender and the receiver must share some common ground, because the communication skills plays a crucial role in this.
Other factors such as cultures, the knowledge, the attitude are also vital because what may be considered rude in other cultures may be perfectly fine in others. So we cannot say that the communication always go as smoothly as one would hope because we can go through various problems such as disruptions, noise, and an asynchronous process that maybe the sender and the receiver may obstruct their proper communication. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, to give you an overall, to understand more about Berlos communications, I'll give you some illustration, like example of this kind of linear communications of Berlos is watching news on the televisions. This is a perfect example of Berlos SMCR model of communication. Like the news presenter or the anchorman or the anchorwoman, uh, they will the source or they will decode the message, no? Although the source or the sender of the message. Now, if this anchorman or anchorwoman is the source, the message or what the news that they delivered is what we call the message. Now, the message, and to deliver it or what do you call it, to convey the message to the audience rather, the news is the message. Yes, the news is the message, and the television is the channel. Now the channel of this miss of this entire communications is the television. The television is the channel because according to Berlos, there are different aspect of a channel, which is hearing, touching, tasting, and the televisions is where we have they have hearing, diba? Or seeing. Uh, that's the channel there, and the audience, the audience is where the receivers of the message, they will decode the message that the anchorman or the anchorwoman delivered, which the message is the news and the channel is the television. Now the receiver is the audience. Like me, I'm watching a television, then when I heard or I see the news or the news was delivered to me, then I will decode, and that's the receiver audience. Okay, the audience is the receiver, and I hope you learned tonight about the Berlos communication. I hope you understand, and that's all, I guess. And thank you.